Here we are, Bosa Spotlight, where you're in the right place if you want to be inspired, to be empowered. I am your host, Crystal Boyd. What a pleasure it is to bring today's micro episode, which is miracles. We're just going to talk about miracles and how they still happen. In fact, if you are connected with me, sometimes you hear me reference Mondays as miraculously magnificent Mondays, and that right there is a whole story within itself. And I'd be so happy to share that at another time, another place. But what I think today, today's subject, today's podcast can just shed light on the fact that miracles do happen. In fact, they happen quite often, and I don't think they're talked about enough. All right. And when you talk about something like that, what a light is shown on that, and for everyone else to see, understand, and take that in and apply it to their life. I have a significant miracle that took place in my life many, many moons ago. But I'm glad to be able to tell the story. And just to start this off right, I would like to mention what I would consider to be the definition of a miracle. And this is not really based on Webster, okay? I didn't go get the lexicon, the dictionary, and, share this definition. But I'm just thinking about in context what a miracle is. And I think that it's an event that doesn't happen regular. Meaning it defies something. It went against natural everything. Principles, rules, regulations, whatever. It didn't happen normal like it would have happened on a regular day. And I'll spare the details on this one because it would share like how much we go through teenagehood and like we just completely feel like we're invincible. You know what? I'll share a little bit of it, if not all. So I am 18 and we plan on going just out. I think we're going to head to Memphis. It may have been Memphis in May. So we wanted to be around Bill Street, all that good stuff. And before we leave, we're making sure we have our food. We're not like cooking or anything like that. So I go to McDonald's and they didn't put cheese on my sandwich. Yeah. And so I get there and I find this out. So I'm feeling some kind of way. I'm upset. So, and during this time, it happens to be raining a little bit, like drizzling. But I think it may have rained earlier, which would say that it's slick. And so I'm in one of my friend's vehicles. And keep in mind at that time, when the radio works and it got gas and it can ride, that's what you're concerned about, right? Not all this maintenance things. So I knew that the tires were a little slick, but I didn't think of how problematic this could be. Whatever. So I'm leaving. Going back towards McDonald's. I'm going to tell them that they forgot my cheese, get all this right, whatever. So I'm not going the speed limit. I'm a little bit over because I'm trying to get there and hurry up and get back, all that good stuff. And along the way, this road happens to do a little bit of winding, like half wind, a little bit of S in the road. So when I'm going down the road, I'm going maybe 45, 50. And so going down and I can tell that it's starting to hydroplane a little bit, I guess. So it left, right, and right. And I guess I'm overturning the vehicle. And by that, I mean like the steering wheel, I'm kind of just jerking it left from right and just overturning. So, but all the while that dip going down leads to going up the hill. So while I'm fishtailing a little bit, I'm going down and up. So this changes the trajectory. So as I'm going up, the car lifts up and it starts going towards a light pole. And at that point in time, I felt myself in the air, the vehicle's in the air, and gosh, I just have to Just talking about this kind of puts me in a place like, oh my goodness, where I was that day, obviously. So while I'm in mid-air, I'm having all these visions and thoughts and stuff, and I'm just like, okay, so I'm going to go through this windshield. There's no question, because of the trajectory of this vehicle, I am going out of this windshield. I have nobody's seatbelt on, and my body is already out of the seat. Like, I literally felt my body out of the seat. And so I already knew that this puts me in a situation to be trajected out of the vehicle. And then where I was going to be was way in the trees and the boonies and everything else. So at that point in time, I was like, well, Lord, I'm going to come see you earlier than anticipated. Like, that had already kind of been settled with me, because I'm like, clearly, I'm coming to see you. There's no way I'm going to survive this. I just want them to find my body. And at that same time, that's when the vehicle stopped. Amazing. I'm flying through the air like Dukes of Hazzard, and it just stops. Not like it's suspended in the air, but it lands gently. You know how you see on the movies where they're going through the sky, the car, when it lands, it does all this crazy stuff. You know, they're trying to handle it. None of that happened. It just lands. Wow. Yeah, so I don't even really think I took all that in at that time, because it was just a little bit too much to comprehend. But a few years later, and obviously still to this day, that's a point to reflect upon, where I can really say that God had a miracle in my life that defied what should have happened, what I seen happening. And where can that bring us today? Where can that bring us today? I want to remind and inform, for those that are not aware, that God is definitely in the miracle making business. Nothing has changed. He will continue to be just there. And a lot of times we're working on a basis where we know our needs, and sometimes we're unaware that we may even need these things. But I urge you, I'm putting this information in your path to provide some empowerment of knowing that God is able and He's willing to perform miracles in our lives. And think back on times where God has showed up in an area where you didn't anticipate it, or when He has showed up and you did anticipate it. Either way, those victories are not to be forgotten. We should always keep those in mind when we're going forward and we're facing new adversities, new challenges, because these will not cease. We will always have a new place to trust, to hope, to persevere. Always looking for, always striving for the better. We know that God is willing and He's able. I think part of that is just bringing us to that realization, because life has a way of getting us into a normal thinking or accepting regular thinking. But no, we're called to think greater, to be greater. And it starts with that faith that the impossible is definitely possible. And we should never, never let that fall by the wayside. So I am encouraging you all, because even through my life, and even at this point, I have to convince and remind myself that God can still make things work that I do not see a way. I don't even understand how. And you know what? Honestly, respectfully, it can just be God's business. But I want to trust. I want to have that full faith. So our call to action is look for that miracle. Cast your miracle in. Cast your request. Ask, seek, knock for those things. Believing that still with God, the impossible is possible. And remind yourself that when you approach these difficulties, these circumstances that challenge your thinking, challenge your faith, that's where it is. It's been a pleasure to bring this micro episode to you. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, comment, share. And you know what? We want to add some other things. Why don't you hashtag magnificently, miraculously magnificent moments, okay? And let us know what happened for you. I want to know. I need some new inspiration in there that leads to empowerment. I think these are beautiful stories, and who knows, you may get to share that story on our platform. Yeah, we review for all different kinds of content to make sure that we have stories that leave you in a place where you're what? Being inspired and you're being empowered. What a joy. Go to our website, www.fosa.company. Check us out, find out what we're about. Be able to look at the podcast and check out the episodes. It's a joy and a pleasure every single time I'm on these episodes. And my name is Crystal Boyd. You've been tuned in to FOSA, our Spotlight edition. And we will see you guys next time.